Hey everybody, welcome back to the SalttyShow, and welcome back to our Chao Let's Play on Total War 3 Kingdoms, episode 43. Hope you guys are doing well today. If you are, like and subscribe as always. And if you want to support the channel, check out the membership below. Without further ado, guys, we're going to get right into today's episode. A little bit of a recap for today. Again, the last episode wasn't too bad, and I think this is probably going to be the best case scenario. So we're going to pick off, and we're going to keep going. We're just doing some intern orders of business, moving our forces around and securing our new provinces, especially in Qin, as we still lead the assault against the Kingdom of Wu. However, there are forces growing in the south, and, well, our men are rather spread thin, especially on the interior of our kingdom, and that's going to come up later as to be quite the issue that we'll need to resolve. Now, we aren't just doing some simple buildings and going about our business, but with it, business is booming, thankfully. Our economy is stable, and we're able to really wage the wars we need as we go about our construction efforts. We are still mopping up the Lady Du kingdom, dealing with a couple of passes here and there, and besieging them. For some reason, they do think we can lose this garrison, but we're going to just quick save and continue our siege, and we'll let them sally out and make that mistake. But with that, we do have growing forces around certain locations, and we also have forces over here that we are laying siege to. We're going to continue starving them out and let them make the mistake of sallying forth as we try to reconnect with our vassals. Meanwhile, in the south here, we are going to use Maji here to push on Ruin and secure another city for us in the next turn.
In the name of China!
Just, how about now, actually? My bad. I forgot that happened. I am watching this and going about a day without a script, but I figured y'all would appreciate just sort of the day-to-day aspect of doing a follow-up video. So we were able to secure that city based off just getting them to surrender since they didn't have a garrison. One thing I've noticed is there's two little happy icons on Runin right now. I wonder if that's a bug. Huh. I've never seen that before. I'm noticing it post-recording. But with it, we are going to do some building. Ruin is really secure for the most part, and public order is already booming. It's a city that we will not have to stay in for long, which is great. It's going to allow Maji to push up to Gushi, or Gushi. I wonder how you say that. I did, surprisingly, obviously their languages are really different, but I did take Japanese 2 years of Japanese back in school. Now, does that help with Chinese at all? No, probably not, but it is interesting. I watch Serious Trivia's videos sometimes, and they are amazing because he knows how to pronounce everything that you see, and it is rather impressive. But moving on from that, looking at our global scale of issues here, moving slowly to the south, we are being encroached upon by enemy forces all across the border. And we're kind of actually separated down here in Tengzhou, as we are going to lay siege to them. Our army, led by, I believe it's Maboshin, is rather in a precarious situation, deep in enemy territory. Meanwhile, we are still besieging with Ma Chao's main force, and Peng Di is going to make a move on Queen Jijing, who was once our vassal. It's flipped over to Kingdom of Wu, or Kingdom of Shu-Han, and we're going to make them regret that decision. In grand scheme of things, it is looking rather decisive that I think we can make it to the Kingdom of Shu-Han's imperial seat. And once we get that, the game kind of changes. We will be the protectors of the Han once and for all. But to further achieve our goals in the north here, Zheng Chen is going to lead a lovely assault and reclaim some of the villages we lost in the last peace deal with the Kingdom of Wu. Their forces are somewut busy dealing with the Kingdom of Qi, allowing us to go in from the rear and control them a little better. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move on and end the turns and deal with the battles that we have at the Battle of Pass against Lady Du and the battles with I forgot his name. We're going to get to it. First build, we have the Battle of Hangzhou Pass. A rather simple formation where our cavalry is going to play a key in both of these battles against garrison forces. So these weren't too much of a sweaty situation here. Simple line of spearmen up front, crossbow guards in the rear, and letting our cavalry do the hard and bloody work of mopping up the enemy. I go back and forth on wondering if arrow trails is a good thing in Total War. There are. I recall previous games not having that big of a deal, and honestly, they do look rather funny. But it is a setting you can mess with. I just haven't in Three Kingdoms yet, because that does look kind of ridiculous. However, our cavalry, led by our generals, are going to mop up their archer and crossbowmen in the rear, while their frontal troops are just getting obliterated by our crossbows. Along with that, some of our cavalry is going to be a little bit sacrificial as we utilize them to kind of hold up their swordsmen. But we're running amok with our cavalry and truly pushing it in everywhere that we can, not allowing them to reestablish a formation. And well, I think you all can see already that this garrison is defeated. Moving on though to the Battle of Yulin. This one, once again, cavalry. Our whole faction, actually, and I want to talk about that. Our whole faction is centered around cavalry, so it's no surprise that we are just mopping the floor with our Quang Marauders and the other forces that we utilize. Now, some of you might be asking yourselves one day, will I be doing more Three Kingdoms Let's Plays? That is for sure a yes. I will one day come back to Three Kingdoms after this series is complete. And I do believe I'm going to be using a different mod list, as there were some crashes and bugs in this. And I do think there might be a tiny bit of unit bloat with newer mods for the longevity of the campaign. But mainly the mod crashes come from making characters unique. Not that certain mod, but mixing it with a lot of other mods can increase instability. However, there will be more campaigns to come. And I'm hoping the next one we do will be a little different. Maybe, I really can't say maybe not infantry, cavalry focused, because Three Kingdoms, cavalry is king. Almost every Total War cavalry is king, but Three Kingdoms charge ability, the stats are ridiculous. Like, it's hard to beat it. It's hard not to have a cavalry focus. And in fact, we're actually doing that with some of our armies, where some of the new forces we're recruiting that are acting as rear guards or quick rapid response units, I'm going to call them, are full of cav. They're full of rapid response to get where they're needed any moment in time, with the infantry not able to slow them down, because, well, in certain battles we really don't need infantry. We just need a large amount of cavalry to mop up anything that they throw at us. Obviously, cavalry do have their problems going against, such as the Protectors of Heaven or other anti-cav infantry is going to be a bit of a problem, but this garrison did not stand a chance. Meanwhile, we are marching with Peng Di to kind of secure our rear line. If we can take Queen Jejin, we've sort of mopped up the vassal rebellion that we were dealing with. We're gonna do some leveling up here, as our court is rather abundant. If you're watching the Hungary campaign, it is a breath of fresh air dealing with only 6 characters compared to the not the hundreds, but the
celebration is due.
Tens to 60 characters that you have to deal with in this game.
Our
a fun aspect
grows.
But I do look forward to hopefully the next true and proper historical Total War title, disregarding Pharaoh. It could be fun in its own right, but I do believe it's still character focused. The next true and historical Total War with generals and things about. I do look forward to seeing if that comes back to us. Let me know in the comments below, do you ever think that's going to happen?
Strike with fury!
Or do you think we are in a new age?
Unleash
but we are
fury!
going to go ahead and sort this siege out at Chao. I believe they are. We're still stuck in a Pyrrhic victory. It is kind of concerning, but we're going to handle some other stuff first. First and foremost, we're going to move Ma Ji here, and I'm determining where we want to move. Probably want to link up with up here at Qin, as we're able to secure the village.
Has been restored.
Obviously,
peace through conquest
did nothing good for them. And all that's left between us and our vassal is Penqing there, or Peching, which we will be gunning for soon. Along with that, we're going to secure the pass,
A quick wit dodges
Easy
the
gun.
hardest
And
blow.
that means Lady Do,
Be
I believe,
still
is
to
down to
conserve spirit.
one more settlement. Yes, it is. The pass in the west, the Wu Pass. And we will be taking care of that in the meantime. Over here, we do kind of make a blunder. I wanted to push harder
To
on
battle!
Galeen here, and that was a mistake. They are aware of our armies over here, and they have garrisoned their cities quite strongly. I do apologize about the barking in the background. I hope it's not too loud, but everything is going according to plan for the most part. Unfortunately, diplomacy is somewhat of a
If we must.
afterthought in our current Let's Play, but we are able to get a trade deal
We
here
accept
with
your offer.
Gaijun, or Q-Jun. We are unfortunately, though, able to establish any very important treaties with us. I do debate peace with these forces here, as we kind of want to divide and conquer. Being able to
Be
handle
thankful
one
I
enemy
deigned
at a
to
time is
speak.
great. The Kingdom of Wu is posing the most significant threat for sure, and they know that. Cao Jun is still a larger threat than we are, despite being economically poor and food-wise very poor. And it's interesting that their armies are still able to come at us like they are. Everybody, I'm going to take a pause here, and I'll be right back to go help with the dog.
Towards
Howdy, folks. I do apologize.
home gladdens the
I
heart.
was trying not to do a cut there, but the dog barking did get a little out of hand, but we are going to roll right through with it.
With
Securing our city here. It is one of the cavalry forces I was
A
talking
single
about, where
lost battle does
we're
not
going
mean
to focus
a
heavily on
refresh
being
and whole
mobile.
again.
We have a huge kingdom border with the enemies, and we really need to be able to move our troops around. Speaking of moving our troops around, Maji cannot afford to just sit idle in Runan. We're going to move. However, we do in the turn as nothing of importance
duty.
happened. There are some enemy forces within our territories
We are burnt
that we
out.
need to deal with, but we are going to move.
To arms!
Now, you will have noticed I've made
Act
peace
quickly.
with the Kingdom of Wu.
Passion
Mainly
cannot
doing
burn
that because we need
indefinitely.
to establish somewhat of a barrier and deal with just a couple of rabble in our kingdom, and it takes the pressure off of us for a minute, allowing us to really
Towards
focus
destiny.
down the Kingdom of Shu-Han. Establishing control over there and getting their imperial seat will be a lot easier than it's going to be to get the Kingdom of Wu. They have all of
Each
the
victory brings stability to the realm.
southeast of China still to their name, and it's going to be
To
very hard
action.
to take it. Deep in those mountains.
An impossible
What
charge.
remains of that kingdom is entrenched. Leveling up some of our characters here, making sure they have ancillaries still. It's grown rather tedious to keep them up to date, but I do try. But with that, Ma Boshan is going to push to take the Wu fort, and over here, Taiyun, or Zhang Chen, is going to
Forward.
pull back. As the Kingdom of Wu has brought forth 2 full stacks. And while we might be at peace, I think by now every one of us knows peace is very short lasting. I do apologize, the dog has brought a toy, and it's gonna be... Well, it wasn't that loud actually. But, who knows. Yes, we are dealing with our court for the most part in this turn, as we do have some satisfaction issues here that we really don't want to lose, and I'm trying to sort that out. It is a little harder than I remembered because we've had so few satisfaction issues for a long time, but it does come and go. We do sort it out though and deal with that in the meantime. Excuse me, everybody. I will say one thing. Doing these after action reports and discussing my thoughts after the fact lets me discuss a lot more of what I was thinking, which is interesting. This will never, I don't think this is ever going to be the norm for the long time, but for now it's helpful.
Unify in one
We did
direction.
secure the force of Charlene. We did just auto-resolve it. Y'all did not miss out on that battle. I didn't think I was going to come out better if I had fought that myself, so I went ahead and auto-resolved it. Not cheaty, but definitely trusting the auto-resolve more than my own skills at the time. I am, though, looking at potential targets already with our southern forces.
Unified in
We
intention.
really want
Prepare my
to...
chambers.
We really want to actually establish control over the kingdom.
My blade is poised.
We have been winning.
Once
However,
again, I
we're
feel the
fighting
warmth of
for
home.
a region here and there. It is not a successful campaign so far. Ma Chao is growing quite old in his kingship, and I'm really hoping we can
must.
at least I'm hoping we can claim the Shu-Han imperial seat while he is alive, before the third generation of kings takes effect,
A waste of time.
which obviously I believe his heir is currently his wife, but that will change,
Your
I
proposal
think,
is sound.
rather soon. Even if she does take guardianship of the kingdom for a minute, I believe they're fairly close in age. But we are looking about trying to break up the little hold the Kingdom of Wu has on the south by supporting vassal independencies. And also, little fun thing here, we are going to confederate
What do you
Su
want?
Jun. For some reason, he's willing to accept
We
it,
do this together.
and I'm quite okay with that. It'll give us a foothold south of this river, and, well, fingers crossed we can just hold it, but we need an operating base to hold out of with a garrison force and a full stack. We'll hopefully be able to hold on, but as you can see, there are quite a lot of forces down there. You can see 3 right there.
Steel for battle.
2
The
full
goal
stacks
is
and
fixed.
1 retinue, it looks like.
I bid you welcome, my lord.
They did give us what you would call a army, perhaps,
Remain pure.
but we are going to disband it as we don't need it. It will be used elsewhere.
Contemplate all.
But that is, most importantly, that's 3 more
Exhaustion
generals,
clouds the
thankfully,
mind.
to our cause. That's one of our biggest issues, is being able to use the generals. But with that, we're going to continue moving on. Looking at our diplomacy, we are losing our friend in the Kingdom of Qi, mainly due to, unfavorable deals, releasing generals. Been doing that. I was hoping to establish more or better relations with
Welcome.
people,
Come
but
in.
it has kind of backfired, I would assume, doing it this much. But with that said, they're still friendly enough with us to where they're not a problem, and in fact, they're tucked away in the corner, so it doesn't matter. But most of all, you all just saw it there for a split second. We'll go back over it in just a minute. But my worst fears have come true at this point. There are some things to get through, but King Meng Huo has rebelled. He has thrown off the shackles of vassalship and taken up arms against us, and we are not prepared. We were worried about this for a long time, but we are still not in a position to fight this. Peng Di is stuck in their territory, and it is desperate that he gets back immediately. I do try. He has a full stack. We do try to move to Jingshao. However, he gets stuck on this side of the river due to the movement point issues. So far, he's abandoned. Meanwhile, with that said, it is gung ho for Meng Huo.
Crush them.
That was not planned. I can't believe I said that. But either way, it is, all bets are off, and we need to change our attitude. We have peace with the Kingdom of Wu for now, and we need to use that to our advantage before he declares war on us again, and all of a sudden we're fighting a 3-frontal war. We need to get our forces in place to take on Meng Huo and push him all the way back to Nanman territory. So that is what we will do. Now, Ma Chao and all the forces in the south and east are going to make their way there. However, we're not going to stop the pressure on the Kingdom of Shu-Han. In fact, the Kingdom of Wu is more than willing to give us military access for some food, because they're struggling so much. But military access for some food. And
let us end this unpleasant business quickly.
I don't think we're going to worry about trade there, but for some food to allow us to push onto the Kingdom of Shu-Han, which we will gladly take.
Spread throughout.
Like I said, our goal is to claim emperorship of China and protect / restore the Han, and we will do so. Dealing with some of their forces stuck in our territories, no problem. Their armies have been no threat
Authority
to us
has
for the
been
most part.
restored.
Sorry guys, playing with Winston
Justice
off
demands
camera.
retribution.
But we are just going to mop them up as we push for the imperial seat in the Shu-Han territory. However, With that said, securing the Wu Pass, we need to move our troops swiftly to the south. Meng Huo is actually quite the threat. He's in our soft underbelly that we've not had defended for a long time, and it's gonna be trouble. And speaking of trouble, we have it. Meng Huo himself, or well, never mind, a force from Meng Huo is pushing on Pain D. This army is rather strong, and they expected defeat on us. Our men are weakened and outnumbered, but hopefully they're not outmanned. Experience-wise, our crossbows are going to focus down those elephants as they are one of the biggest threats, I think. I don't know if they do better than cavalry, but we are going to target them nonetheless. Meanwhile, it's strange. Meng Huo, his father, is his enemy now, but Lian, if you remember, is our political hostage to establish our vassalship all those years ago, is actually fighting in this battle, fighting to protect the kingdom of Liang. He's actually in charge of covering the flanks with his forces and their rear lines, riding beside Pain D. He's become a loyal friend and ally. He did not rebel, and he will not go against his father, thankfully. We couldn't really afford that if he did. But our cavalry, thankfully, did not have too much trouble getting behind their rear line. It is just going to be a struggle to mop it up. The problem is, though, their infantry for our flanks, they outnumber us, and they are also really able to do some damage to us. Thankfully, though, our spearmen, our veterans, are going to hold the center extremely impressively, honestly. I believe they're unbreakable thanks to Pain D, and you can, if that was not the case, this battle would have gone far differently if we did not have unbreakable spearmen.
Your
But
destruction is
crossbows
my
are out of
purpose.
ammo already, and we're going to pull them back. I will later regret that decision, and they're going to regret running all the way out there. But I was trying to minimize casualties. However, this battle was a quite serious one, which is why I'm going to show quite a bit of it. Our forces are rather scattered. All we have that are our advantage is the minimum cavalry that we have, and this, in fact, is where we lose it a little bit. Meng Huo has fallen in the heat of battle against his father's faction. I'm sure loyalty has been brought off at this point between father and son. However, it is a Greek tragedy nonetheless that this happened. But with that, Pain D and our other general have gone into fits of rage by losing their friend, as they truly have conquered a strong part of China together, securing the deserts of the west, the northern mountains, and now defending against the King Meng Huo aggression. Now, as you can see, those crossbowmen are still running. I have not realized that I'm going to need them, but our cavalry, thankfully, are doing everything they can to run amok, dealing with the troublesome slingers that took a long time to kill. I believe they're the tiger slingers or something like that. Yeah, the tiger slingers. And while Pain D tries to help the infantry as they're starting to waver in certain locations. And in fact, you can see that our right flank, or well, theoretically our left flank, is all but crumbling except for our spearmen, due to them being unbreakable, which is good. However, they are suffering casualties and they are losing lots of men. Only one of them remains above 100 troops right now, and that won't last forever. So we really need to we need to break their flanks where we can with our cavalry, because we do still have a large contingency of them, especially with their generals running amok and abandoning their force. Basically, we targeted their forces there. All that remains is their infantry, so their morale is already as low as it's gonna be. We just really need to utilize the mobility that we have compared to them. They do still have one general on the field, but he is below 50% health. Well, make that two generals, my bad. But they're both below 50% health, and we are going to target them.
You will lose and be forgotten.
I did
There is nothing to be
wonder
gained from this
how
banter.
much damage our archer towers did, because the whole battle, it is shooting. I didn't notice that in game, obviously, but I do wonder its kill count. As you can see, there are some poison archers there shooting at us and proving rather troublesome. And this left flank holding on by a thread. But we are able to get another one of their generals to rout. And we're going in after these spearmen. But our forces are dwindling rather swiftly. Unfortunately, they just have a lot of troops. Trying to pull them back. We don't need to really chase the tiger slingers away. And at this point, I've noticed we're going to need the bodies. We cannot spare our crossbowmen. And to their demise, that is unfortunately just going to be the fact. We need their little daggers. At this rate, it might be better for them just to swing their crossbow. But we need them nonetheless to fight. The spearmen cannot hold by themselves. The flanks are all but gone, basically, except our right flank has had the advantage of our cavalry. And we are now thankfully mopping up their rear lines. We do have, it's still 50-50 at this point. The advantage we have is we still have 2 generals and cavalry. Along with that, we are obviously bringing back our crossbowmen. So we're gonna have some more bodies on hand, but they're not skilled warriors at combat. Hand to hand, anyways. But we're finally gonna get one of our first hammer and anvil hits off. As our spearmen here desperately need it. As you can see, they're being encircled, surrounded, and whittled down. They only have about 35 men left. But we are doing our best. And this is where the crossbowmen are going to come in handy, as they're going to reinforce this flank. It desperately needs it compared to the other one. Like that though. We cannot stay for long. We need to pull our cavalry out. And, well, try to help these Nan-Man warriors or swordsmen as they are unable to deal with forces on the right side. Oh boy. Sorry guys. But we are going to move over there and deal with that. While our spearmen here in the center have actually managed to hold out and they're not dealing with anything, we're going to push them towards another objective. But it is looking rather dicey still. I think the balance of power is somewhat in our favor technically, but I would not say that it's at all done yet, especially if we were to lose Payne D or our other general. I do believe we would lose the battle at this point, because most of our forces are below 50% health. Meanwhile, theirs are still kicking rather strong. As you can see with some javelin spear guards, we are dealing with some high-tier Nan-Man forces. I didn't really get to zoom in too much on this battle, but there were also tiger troops as well. I didn't see them in action. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't, but all our spearmen are getting pretty low on the numbers here, and they still have some pretty strong pockets of resistance on the outer corners of our line. Sorry guys, that was me moving my foot to get around Winston's vicious mouth attacks as he tries to bite me, because he wants some attention, which I do plan on giving after this recording session, so no worries. He did rather good. I've just finished recording the Hungarian episode 2, so he was quiet after that, so he is being a good boy. I haven't posted any shorts of him recently in a long time. I probably should soon to give you all a little update on the psychopath, but all is well, do not worry. However, back to the battlefield. Well, things are starting to look up on our left flank as the crossbowmen have, manpower-wise, given us a bit of a holding check. Their morale is wavering, but thankfully we can get in here with our cavalry and really deliver that hammer blow that we needed on the anvil. Starting to cause mass rout from their forces, while our other general is just going to mop up some ranged units. Meanwhile, some of our spearmen are truly suffering, but we are getting a mass rout on this right flank, and if we can secure that, the left will crumble as well. Thankfully, due to the unbreakable spearmen and the lacking amount of cavalry that we had, but thankfully it was still just enough to flank them and beat their cavalry, we have managed to rout this force with devastating losses, unfortunately. Payne D's army is down a lot. It is a Pyrrhic victory, to say the least, as we try to rout the rest of these troops. And we did end up losing Meng An as well. A valuable ally from the faction that is now fighting us. And that does mean, unfortunately, we lose his retinue as well, as we had no one to replace him in our court. But all of that is now in the past, and the battle, he will remain on this field till the end of time. Peng Di and the other general will remember his sacrifice, though, falling to his own father's faction. I do wonder how King Meng Huo would have taken that, knowing that his son died in the first battle against our kingdom. Probably wouldn't care, as he, doesn't seem like that type of guy. But roleplay's sake, we can think he might have worried, or maybe gave a little thought to. But we're going to mop all these forces up, and we're going to get back to the campaign map. Now, they were attacked again by King Meng Huo himself, but thankfully it was a tiny battle, and we did end up winning because we were able to be fortified. But we did lose our other general. So, this has been a costly trip in the south for Peng Di, if that's how you say it. He's lost both his friends, both his brave friends in the far south. We have Lu Yaobao, who was actually our prime minister, and Meng An. All that remains is Peng Di, but thankfully he was able to beat off Meng Huo's horde. Fingers crossed we can continue that push. But we're going to do some simple construction. Peng Di cannot move any further, but we did rally a new force in that area, as you see in the capital city across the river, to hopefully, number one, defend our southern border, but number two, hopefully protect Peng Di from further assaults if we can get him closer. Meanwhile, we do have a new prime minister position to fill, as we lost Liu, and we are going to do so. I'm just going through making sure somebody gets a satisfactory bonus, and if not, hopefully their rewards prove to be rather useful. I'm looking for corruption reduction, because that is the name of the game, I think. Three Kingdoms by far was one of the best historical Total Wars if you play on record mode, I believe. To modern date, anyways. Due to the ability to really, I think, get into some nice strategy when it comes to the economy, reducing corruption, seeing where all the numbers are going. I feel like it was a little harder to do in previous Total Wars, especially Warhammer didn't focus on that, but Three Kingdoms is about the best we got so far. I do wish we had another historical title already that was not character focused and was fully around something, but fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed. So we are going to unfortify Peng Di and move him and what is left of his retinue closer. And unfortunately, I do make the mistake of putting him into force march. But as far as we can see, there's no forces to take advantage of that left from King Meng Huo, so we're going to wait. Meanwhile, we do have two southern forces here, and we're going to get them in position. With that, we're looking at... I was just playing around with seeing what that would do if King Wu decided to do anything with us. But with that, I'm just looking at our diplomatic situations here, as they are ever-changing and not normally in our favor. But we are going to deal with the rebels. The betrayal of Meng Huo we will handle, and we will handle it swiftly. While the kingdom of Shu-Han is on their last legs, we are just a region or two away from claiming their imperial seat. And we will be doing that as swiftly as we can. We have two forces over there, and I do think that's going to be enough, along with our vassal, to take on Shu-Han and establish the kingdom of Liang as a contender for Emperor of China. Which hopefully means we're going to get an achievement next episode. Because I know you can do that. Meanwhile, we are going to raise another army here, led by the Shujun that we vassalized, or confederated, my bad. We're going to get some warriors of Zhu. Their morale's okay. They have decent stats, and plus I've never used them before, so I figured why not. buddy. Oh my lordy. He's got some sharp teeth. We are going to continue doing that, I do apologize. And we're going to keep on moving. Recruiting our forces here in Zhejiang. Because we really need to... I'm worried about Meng Huo, my bad. As our north and our eastern borders, we kind of expect the war that we're dealing with. We know the troop counts, we have our forces in place. The south was our underbelly. It was not ready for warfare. Meng Huo could push, but thankfully, with our court being so large and the rapid response of our economy, we have been able to employ 3 armies down there at this point, and we're really just running out of characters. But it should, fingers crossed, be enough to launch a counteroffensive against him once we've established control of that. I'm just going to kid out her guys. Considering he confederated us, he was happy to join our kingdom. I will happily kid this man out. That's going to be the end of today's episode, and I hope you all enjoyed the recap. If you did, like and subscribe as always. Catch you in the next one.